This is awesome. Whoa. Wow. I'm obsessed though. Hi, I'm Beryl, and this is the second episode where we explore naturally vegan foods around the world. In the first episode, we learned about dishes from Peru, Lebanon, and Hong Kong. And in this episode, we're going to see dishes from Nigeria, Italy, and Algeria. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so. This is a fun place. We have fun. I'm very excited for some of these, so let's begin with Nigeria.
Hi Beryl, my name is Favour and I live in Budapest city in Hungary. I'm originally from Nigeria. The dish I'll be talking about today is Garri. Garri is made from cassava. Basically the cassava is fermented, dried. For this dish that we're making today, we're going to only make use of the white one. The yellow one is mostly eaten with soups and stews or in a kind of doughy texture. This dish is made from ice cold water, coconut chips, roasted peanuts, coconut milk powder, and some sugar. This dish is very popular in my country. It's known by both the old, the young, the rich, the poor. It's very affordable and the ingredients are easily available. I have so many good memories with this dish, from sitting down with my friends, talking about school, about life, a little gossip here and there. And my most recent fond memory was when I introduced this dish to my husband. My husband is not Nigerian, but it was so nice to see that he enjoyed it and he even went for seconds and learned how to make it himself. So I would encourage everyone to try this dish. Yes, it may not contain any kind of animal product, but it doesn't need it because it's just full in its own, right? It gives you everything you would want for in its own. I am not vegan. I would encourage more people to try dishes that don't include meat because they make you explore outside of just, getting your flavor from meat, but explore other spices and all of that. I do hope you guys will try this dish and like it. And thank you so much and have a lovely day.
I have never made a cereal with ice cubes before, but there's a first for everything, isn't there? It's interesting because I've talked about this actually in a previous video that I filmed in Ghana.
Nti ma Ghana mu ha de yetime de banche, brode, bayire, mankani and yede ye fufuo.
And it's cool to see things come around, and now I'm actually getting to try one of the grains I talked about. It's gold. It kind of reminds me of this type of grain in Russia called manная kasha, which is a grain that's like very, very fine. It's got like a little bit of a sour taste, which I'm assuming is from the fermented cassava. But then there's sweetness from the sugar, and the peanuts, the roasted peanuts, those are the real winners. This is so refreshing. I haven't cooked much food from Nigeria, and in general, I think that, being honest, I would say the African continent in general, I have a large gap in knowledge about the foods from there. And the more I experiment with them and the more I'm learning about them, I find the flavors to just be so beautiful. There's a simplicity to a lot of the recipes that I tried, but at the same time, they are robust and fabulous in flavor. And I think this garri is a really cool thing. I now have a pound of it, and I only used 1/8 of a cup. So I've got some other experiments to do, I really like that Favour introduced this to her husband and that her husband likes it now. I feel like I can relate a lot to that because in my relationship with Regit, he has introduced me to a lot of dishes, but mostly I am introducing him to all of these dishes. Favour also gave me a couple of other Nigerian dishes that she recommended I try, and I'm gonna also leave a link to those in the description in case you are curious as well. What? Next dish.
Hi everyone, my name is Marta and I'm from Italy. The dish that I would like to talk to you about today is Cinque, which means 5 and 5. It's a street food very popular and typical of my hometown, Livorno, in Italy, and also you can find it in a few nearby cities. And it happens to be vegan. The Cinque is basically a sandwich, so you have 2 layers of bread, and then in the middle you have something that is called torta di ceci, which means literally chickpea cake. It's a mixture of water and chickpea flour, and when you cook it in the oven, it gets from liquid to a more solid consistency. Usually you put together with this torta di ceci also quite a lot of pepper and melanzane sotto il pesto, which are some sort of marinated eggplants. I think Cinque is something that really proves that vegan food can be good and is good. Because even though you don't typically find vegan food in traditional Italian food, this has been there, I think, for a long time. There is a special place in Livorno where you can have Cinque, and that's the best place. It's called Gagarin. You go there and it's nearby some canals in the city, so people usually just take the Cinque with something to drink and they go nearby the canals and they eat and talk and chat, and it's just the best for me.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I would have never known that besan flour could become a chickpea flour cake with just a little bit of water, salt, and pepper. I've used besan flour before because it's really common in Indian cooking. This is awesome. This is awesome. Maybe the bread is a little thick. I'm gonna do like open face sandwich because this was a thick focaccia. Wow. Did you guys all know about this? That this flour could just become a thin little beautiful cake? I imagine the more spices you put into this chickpea flour mixture, the better it is. I just did salt and pepper, nothing crazy. I do think I put a little too much olive oil in it because it's a little olive oily. I'm obsessed though. This is so delicious. The marinated eggplant that I'm using is something called makdous. It is something that is quite typically found in Syria. When I went to Jordan, I actually filmed a video about making this with a woman who was Syrian but is now living in Jordan. So I'm excited for you all to see that and learn a little bit more about this fabulous stuffed marinated eggplant. I love that Marta told us where like the best Cinque is in Livorno, because now how fun would it be if I got to go there and I filmed making it like the really authentic way? I think that would be a really fun video and I would like to do it. I'm finding this sandwich to be totally satisfying. It is simple, but it is scrumptious. I think we all need to use the word scrumptious a little bit more. I've decided that just now. This doesn't strike me as Italian food, but this is a very old Italian dish. And so it's cool to not only learn something new about an ingredient that I was very familiar with, but also learn more about Italian cuisine that it is more than just pasta. Which, I mean, I guess a lot of us knew that, but it's cool to find something new and totally different. Last bite. I loved that. My fingers are a little bit shiny. Should have brought a napkin. My bad. Let's do the final dish.
Hello, my name is Rosa and I am an Algerian Canadian. The dish I wanted to present is called Tbikha. In French we call it a jardinière de légumes, which is basically a mix of vegetables cooked with a spice base that we call dirsa in Algeria. The dish itself is artichoke hearts cooked with fava beans. In Arabic it's called foul, tomato paste, sweet green peas, and obviously coriander because all of our dishes have coriander. Personally, I'm not vegan, but Algerian cuisine, like a lot of African cuisine or North African cuisine, has a wide variety of vegan or vegetarian dishes since meat is really consumed historically for celebrations and weddings, although now meat has become a staple of day-to-day cooking. When I was growing up, obviously like a lot of kids, I hated Tbikha, and I hated a lot of dishes that were vegetable based. But now it reminds me of my mother's amazing food. I have grown to love it and to make it very often. Incorporating meatless dishes should be something that we all do, but I also believe we should be incorporating meatless dishes that celebrate the ingredients themselves and that are not trying to mimic meaty dishes. There's so much beauty and deliciousness in vegetables and in beans. So I hope you try Tbikha. It's amazing. I love it. And let me know what you think.
Okay, the final dish is Tbikha. And I hope that I'm saying that right because I practiced. The idea of like a garden stew / soup, I'm very, very much here for. And I love artichoke hearts so much, and I find that there are just not enough recipes with them. Whoa. The mint, it's always the mint, you know? It kind of comes in at the end and just brightens everything in your mouth, and you go, whoa. Oh, I thought I had food. I thought I had food in my teeth, and I thought that smile was marred by a large mint leaf, but I don't think it is. It is simple but beautiful and like fresh, just so fresh. And I'm saying fresh, but everything was canned and or frozen, so you know, that's saying something. I think that the vegetables that you use in this are pretty hearty. And I used lima beans because I could not find fava beans. I also read that you could use cannellini beans, the kind of white buttery beans, if you can't find lima beans. Overall, just use a bean, you know? Choose your bean. Choose your bean. I have smoked paprika in this, and I think that's one of my favorite spices right now. You know, like I sometimes like go through phases of different spices that I like to use all the time, and right now I'm in a smoked paprika phase. It's fun. It's interesting trying all of these foods that are vegan but not created for vegans. They are just vegan in nature, and in none of them do I feel like, oh, you know what? This would be really good if only it had a big piece of meat or like milk or eggs in it. They all exist beautifully on their own because they let the ingredients that are the stars of it shine. And so this feels like a dish for vegetables. It's not a dish for meat. And I like that. I just also love artichoke hearts, and so I'm never gonna talk smack about a dish with them in it. If you've never had an artichoke heart, run, don't walk. They're absolutely amazing. I mean, I love eating artichokes in general. There's like a whole pomp and circumstance to doing it, where there's a lot of labor and not much payoff, but it's fabulous at the same time. So that wraps up my foray into naturally vegan foods from around the world. I'd love to know what you think of it. I loved it. Finish the bowl. And with that, I will see you all in my next episode.